Glazer. Commissioner Glazer.
He's still connected to audio.
Okay, all right, well, I know he's here. Terwilliger.
Here.
Geisler. Anybody seen Jim?
Yeah, Jim's in his office.
Okay. Just not connected yet. Okay. Commissioner Dorian.
Here.
Nosen.
Here.
Chairman Bone.
Here.
7 present, 0 absent.
Okay. Any Jim or Steve yet?
Steve
Steve
is
still looks like he's trying to connect.
he's
Okay.
on no video. Mark,
Okay.
can we just remind everybody during the pledge to mute?
Yep,
Except
we'll
for
do.
me, because there's too much feedback.
Well, I guess let's move along with the invocation and the pledge. Commissioner Terwilliger, will you lead us, please?
Heavenly Father, we are thankful to gather our team of Board of Commissioners together once again today. We pray for your divine wisdom that only you can provide as we process and determine matters regarding the residents of Midland County. And Lord, we pray for your provision to our community, state, nation, and world for grace to all of us to heal us from this scourge of a pandemic. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for September 15th, 2020.
Hi,
Mr.
Mark.
Pardon me?
I just went through them and September 15th has a lot of typos, including names. Usually I let just a few go, and September 1st has a few of the BOC, so we can just change those typos. On the 15th, I did notice my name was spelled and I'm misspelled a number of times, but there's other ones. So if we could just spell check them and then they're good to go.
Okay, let's clean those up and nice
Mr.
catch,
Chairman, I
Rebecca.
recommend we approve the minutes as amended.
Do we have support?
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will approve the minutes for September 15th, 2020 with the recommended corrections. And we'll now move on to the acceptance of the bills.
General bank claims for the weeks of 8/31 through 9/4, $1,684,580.60, with total general fund expenditures $106,193.90. General bank claims approved for the weeks of 9/7 through 9/11, $1,510,263.64, with total general fund expenditures $115,280.90. General bank claims for the weeks of 9/14 through 9/18, $1,702,862.54, with total general fund expenditures $53,343.83. General bank claims for the weeks of 9/21 through 9/25, $351,840.97, with total general fund expenditures $113,179.79.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we pay the bills.
Do we have support?
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, the same. Okay, thank you, everybody. We will pay the bills. Now we're going to get into our special program of the day section. We have a few presentations today, so we're going to start with an update from the health director regarding the recent events with the governor's order. Fred, take it, that's going to be you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, I will mute for a second.
Okay, I just wanted to touch base briefly this morning regarding and good morning, everyone, regarding the Supreme Court action, which has affected the governor's executive orders, which have guided a lot of the mitigation efforts for our public health response to the pandemic. And there was a lot of conversation over the weekend in public health circles regarding how long the executive orders were going to be active and what local public health departments would need to do to pick up on this if they weren't active from the current date. At the end of the day, fortunately, I think for everyone, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, so the state health department, their director came out with an executive order utilizing the public health code to basically carry forth all of the provisions in those executive orders with dealt with mitigation efforts like mask wearing, restaurant capacities. All of those items were largely covered the same in his executive order, Director Gordon's. So it kind of negated the need for local health departments to act and craft their own orders. I know some local health departments moved forward earlier yesterday and Sunday in crafting those orders for epidemic control. We did not. I've had conversations with some of our key players here, the prosecutor's office and Bridget and Counselor Smith, to kind of get a handle on what that might look like moving forward if needed. And certainly I wanted to express the fact that if there were no overarching state orders in the form of a governor's EO or a state health department order, that I would certainly look to pursue local orders if needed to control the pandemic. I know that the Michigan Public Health Code was used by Director Gordon to craft his emergency epidemic order. And those are the same authorities which grant the local health officer the authority to do local orders if needed. So, at the end of the day, I think MDHHS's decision was wise. It's going to lend to consistency throughout the state rather than each locality crafting their own orders, which might not be the same. But certainly I just wanted to touch base quickly to say that, to let you know from my perspective what was happening and to just kind of lay out what may happen moving forward if we have any issues. And a good example of that would be, we have a state order limiting some gathering limits and whatnot. Some jurisdictions like Kent County, for instance, had to issue at Grand Valley State University. So they took and they made the gathering order a little more stringent. That's an example of what we could do locally if we saw an issue and we wanted to ramp up our response and tighten things up a bit for the purpose of controlling an epidemic. So that's an authority that the health officer granted that I just wanted to touch base to give you an update where we're at.
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson, did you have a question? You need to unmute.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Fred, thanks for the update. I just, a question about what's the difference between unilateral authority coming from the governor versus unilateral authority coming from DHHS? And if DHHS had the authority all along to do this, why didn't they do it earlier?
I can't answer that. I know that the DHHS authority is granted by the Michigan Public Health Code, MCLL Act, of 1978. And I know that has held up over the years as a strong legal authority. Why it wasn't crafted that way from the beginning, I can't answer that question, unfortunately. But everyone in public health anticipates that the local public health code, either from the state director or local authorities like us, is strong enough to hold up. Sorry, I can't answer that.
If you'd like, I can provide some response. Actually, the health director did issue a similar order back in July that covered a number of the governor's executive order provisions, specifically dealing with the mask and the business openings. And that was potentially enforceable as a separate basis. So the health director did act before you had basically concurrent jurisdiction. The literal answer to your question, Commissioner, is that it's a different statute. There's one statute that was relied on by the governor, which has now been declared to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. There's a separate statute that gives the authority to the health director to operate this way. Now, there is a great deal of discussion already going around the state as to really what's the practical difference. And if we say that the governor can't have this basically great grant of power without being able to go through the legislature, then why should the health director have that? So I think there may be a challenge based on similar arguments. But at least as of right now, there's a different statute which has not been declared to be unconstitutional or invalid, which means at this time it's presumed to be valid and enforceable.
Okay,
Thank
stay
you.
tuned.
So
Thank you.
from my perspective, real quickly, the important thing is regardless of what's happening above us and down in Lansing, we're just trying to reinforce that those are the things in the public health toolbox as far as social distancing and capacity limits and things like that, that we got to figure out a way to make those happen regardless of the local level, because that's how we can mitigate disease. So, we've tried to express that our residents remain patient while we sort this out, and certainly encourage them to continue to follow all those guidelines that have been in the EO and that are now in the current emergency order, because that's what we know we can do to mitigate disease.
On a very practical matter, from the Board of Commissioners standpoint, are we allowed to go ahead and have meetings in person or with a hybrid system? Is the 10-person rule still in effect?
Can I answer that? Is if you go on the assumption that the governor's executive orders are in effect for at least the 21 days,
I don't, but go ahead.
in which a request for reconsideration can be submitted to the Supreme Court, then we would be able to meet in person after the 9th, because that new executive order indicated that it was 20 people per 1,000 square feet. So we would have the capacity to do that in our boardroom.
Okay, I don't want to belabor this too much, but if you go on the assumption that a Michigan Supreme Court ruling is effective immediately, then we could meet tomorrow.
I think you could assume that unless you had to also operate under the state health director's rulings, which then say you still have to social distance and the meeting capacity logistics in that ordinance or the authority of that department would then come into play. Would you say that's correct, JD?
Yes, yep, that does cover gatherings, both residential and non-residential, and with certain requirements.
Commissioner Twilliger, you had your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to respond to Fred. Thank you for getting right on top of this right away, and I appreciate you sharing that with all of us. In addition, I understand that you've already been on the news because my husband shouted it up to me as I was getting ready, correct? It wasn't you? It was you, yeah, that's what he said. I think that your health director was on the news. And I really hope that this will be a unilateral type of effect across the state, because there's been so much difference and deviation between what goes on down here in regions 6 and 8. And this provides more of a flat playing field. And thanks for sharing that with us this morning.
It's been a very hot button issue, and I've got several emails from the public, and the vast majority have encouraged us to, if there was no state order, to continue with the mask order. I've only had one against and probably 10 with, so it's a real hot button issue with our public, and generated a significant media request as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner questions for Fred before we let him go? I'm hearing none. Going once, going twice, gone. Fred, thank you very much for the update. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is a presentation of a resolution from the Michigan Supreme Court commemorating the 10th anniversary of the Midland County Adult Drug Court.
Thank you, Chairman Bone, and thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to present here this morning. It's definitely different, although I'm getting used to this. We do our drug court by Zoom. So it's become quite a normal part of our process now. I want to take this time to, in fact, bring to your attention, because it was sent to me, to let you know about a program I'm very proud to be a part of. And I'm just going to read a couple of the whereas that you have for the resolution and then make a couple comments. Whereas the Midland County Adult Drug Court has been operational since 2010 and will celebrate its 10th anniversary, having graduated 69 individuals to date from the program. Whereas the Midland County Adult Drug Court has proven that rehabilitation protects the community, saves taxpayer money, and returns citizens to productive lives. And long-term success of the drug court is based on close supervision of probationers by an interdisciplinary team dedicated to the safety of the community. And I want to take this time as well to identify those members of that team, which is quite an impressive list. We have someone here today. The coordinator is Jaylene Vicky. She is present. You can't see her video, but she's here. We have from the prosecuting attorney's office, JD Brooks is often a part of that, as well as his assistant prosecutor, Joe Amen. We have a defense attorney, Lee Burton, who the clerk sometimes has acknowledges that she has a relationship with him. We have treatment providers. We have Angela Volk, Jessica Van Horn, and Kristen Penberthy. We also have law enforcement officers that tag team on that. Brandon Hodges and Jason Brandt. We also have Mark Goulet from the Midland Police Office, who is not officially a member yet, but is appearing quite often as part of the meetings that we have. We have Marissa Bolton from CCAB there. We have an assistant coordinator, Peggy Wakowiak. And we have often there almost every time, Commissioner Terwilliger, who has also graced us with some of her past experiences in the field of substance abuse. And it's kind of nice, the resolution at the end says that we, the Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court, do hereby extend to the Midland County Adult Drug Court our sincere and grateful appreciations for its dedicated service to their clients and to the state of Michigan. Our congratulations on the 10th anniversary of the Midland County Adult Drug Court and its current participants and past graduates, and our best wishes for continued success in the years to come. I believe I am the only member from the original start of this, but everybody that I just mentioned is very dedicated to the program. I think we've seen some fantastic successes. I believe I've shared, I don't know if it went to all the commissioners, but I know with Commissioner Terwilliger, I did share. We had recently done some recidivism analysis, and we're showing some, I think, some pretty good statistics to justify the program and what it's seeking to accomplish. So I wanted to bring this to your attention as you are supporting the program for us as well. Although the funding at this point is not from the County of Midland, it's still a program that you are supporting. I just wanted to reach out, let you know we have got that acknowledgement. And I'll show you, here's the resolution. And if, with your permission, I'd like to hang it in courtroom 4A's jury room with all the other materials we have from drug court that we have accumulated, including a lot of pictures of graduates on their date of graduation. I guess if I have time, I'll open up. I don't know if JD or Jaylene want to say anything, or if I'm allowed to do that. I guess Commissioner Bowen, if you tell me, or Chairman
Go
Bowen.
right, you can do it.
Okay.
Your Honor, would you like me to share the data that was recently shared from the CCAB meeting?
If you wouldn't mind, that'd be great, Commissioner Terwilliger.
I would definitely like to do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Gay. And I just, as always, thank you so much for your support and continued support with this awesome program. So thank you.
All right.
Any other commissioner questions? Well, what an excellent program we have. Thanks for all the hard work everybody out there is doing on it. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody. Be safe.
Okay, you too, Judge. Okay, next for our third update. Today, we're going to have an update from the Midland Business Alliance with Tony Stamas and Nicole Wilson.
Very good.
So I will let you guys take the floor and I'll mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, really appreciate the opportunity to be with you this morning. Nicole Wilson's with me, and we'll kind of tag team here. Nicole is our Vice President of Economic Development, joined the team in March, doing a great job. She was in the office a whole 2 weeks before we were all moved to our homes to work, but doing a tremendous job. So we just want to give you an update in terms of economic development activities. We're honored to partner with the county, with Bridget and the team, with all of you. Fred's been an incredible resource as we've been trying to, communicate to businesses. So, Jen Boyer, the whole team. So we really appreciate. This hasn't been a year that's gone according to plan. We've had to adjust, as you all know, on a regular basis, but we're trying to make sure that we're keeping core to that mission. So we've got a few slides here. We're just going to run through, if that's all right, and give you an update and welcome your questions. I don't know if we're sharing those or.
We're just navigating a little technical difficulties. So give us just a second here as we're trying to share the screen. Thanks. I thought I could share, but it giving me a little trouble.
All right, well, I'm a recovering politician, so I can just go ahead and talk. And so I'm gonna just kind of give you an overview, and then if we're able to share this, we'll show that to you. But, COVID hit us in March, and that's impacted every business in different fashions. And so one of the things we were very fortunate to do was get assistance to help with the businesses. And so right off the bat, through the state's MEDC, we got $80,000 in grant dollars, and those were dollars they put out there really quickly. So we tried to get them out very fast. It was usually about $2,500 payments that we did to businesses, just a direct grant that we're able to do. And I think you're able to see that now. And we'll if we can just pop ahead to the page 3 of that slide. And then we also were able to do small business loans. We partnered with the Community Foundation. They did that, but they asked for our counsel in terms of those loans, 0% loans to businesses around the community. So that was a huge help right as COVID hit. And then with our tremendous family foundations, corporate foundations, we were blessed to have $200,000 that we again did as grants to businesses, the small businesses that were impacted by COVID, a lot of legacy businesses that we all know. And then just most recently, it came from the CARES Act from the federal government, and then the state allocated it as a restart grant. And it was just over $1 million that we were able to get to businesses all around the community. The highest amount we got was $15,000 for a number of businesses, and then down to $1,000. But we were able to share that to about 250 businesses around our community, trying to help assist them in what's been such a challenging year. A lot of it's been informational. We put together a back to work toolkit, just trying to make sure that people know, okay, for industries, if it's service, construction, manufacturing, restaurants, how do they vary? Providing financial expertise. A lot of businesses got PPP loans. And so helping to understand what that means and what the timing would be. And that's still an ongoing conversation. Legal implications, in terms of trying to make sure that you're running the business in the best way, your employees are safe, and how you kind of navigate that working together as a team, and certainly human resources, whether it's work share program, unemployment, a lot of local interpretation, application of executive orders. As we were in the previous conversation, about 170 executive orders. Diane Middleton, our Vice President of Advocacy, I told her that she's going to get an honorary law degree as quickly as she's gotten to decipher through those executive orders. But that's really critically important for businesses to understand that, the businesses we work with want to do the right thing, but they also need to understand that. And again, we've had great partnerships with the prosecutor's office, the city attorney. Just when we've had questions and needed clarification, they've always been very available and very accessible, and we appreciate that. Obviously, a big part of this year when we started in May was what happened with respect to the dam breaks and the flooding and the impact of that. And again, you guys led the effort in terms of protecting lives, helping people on the front end. We've been trying to make sure that we're out there helping as well in terms of helping businesses. And so I'm going to let Nicole talk a little bit about some of the processes we've been doing in terms of assisting, right on the short term, boots on the ground, in the intermediary right now, and then kind of as we go forward.
Sure. Thanks, Tony. Jessica, if you would advance just a couple slides. There we go. So MBA has really played 3 key roles in disaster recovery, and we continue to help out. The first was really to understand and serve as data collector for the businesses that were affected, primarily in 4 areas of Midland County: Sanford, the city of Midland, the West Main Street and North Saginaw Road areas, Poseyville and the Bullet Creek Business District, and then the M20 corridor. So those 4 areas, we interviewed and interacted with about 50 businesses that were impacted to understand what the impact was, what the needs were to align with available resources. The second role that the MBA has played is in grant maker. So the Community Foundation submitted or agreed to about $100,000 in support for small businesses that were impacted by the flood. And then the MBA Foundation kicked in another $50,000 to bring that total fund to about $150,000 to support those businesses. We did grants of, on average, about $5,000, and the balance of those have just been approved by our review committee. And so those funds will be spent out as of late this week. So we have been lucky to build relationships with each of those businesses and help to then continuing to match make through potential resources continuing forward. Jessica, if you'd skip forward one more. Kind of talking a little bit more about the connection piece, really working with each individual business to connect them to recovery resources and expertise. So on that, we've worked at the federal, state, and local level. And the first piece that we did was to connect with the Small Business Administration to put on a disaster recovery webinar. And as a result of those connections, as of September 20th, we do have updated numbers now, but there were 12 businesses that applied for Small Business Administration loans. There were 6 approved, and the total at that time was about $682,700. There are a few more who are going through the review process after receiving a denial. It's my understanding from our counterparts at the SBA that it is not abnormal to receive a denial the first round. So then going back and kind of addressing a few of those issues to clean up the application. Moving beyond that, now we're kind of into what does that next round of disaster recovery look like? So exploring federal and state CDBG disaster recovery funding allocations, really understanding what that could look like or what the unmet need is in the community continuing forward. The other kind of matchmaking part has been to align projects that fit within existing state and federal programs to make those connections. So the one that comes to mind most quickly is the Community Revitalization Program, which is a project that exists. You make your pro forma and your project pitch to the MEDC through the Michigan Strategic Fund, and they decide on whether to allocate funds to revitalize buildings that have both commercial and residential spaces. So there are 2 buildings in downtown Sanford that are presently evaluating that as a funding source. And then Tony, I'm not sure if you want to go into great detail, but the Sanford and Gladwin Rebuild Project, really MBA's role is to facilitate the investment of local philanthropy to assist the rebuild of 3 longstanding businesses, the Sanford Hardware, Red Oak Lounge, and then Strikers Marina.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great opportunity. You know, there's so much need there. We're certainly trying to partner with our friends at United Way, the Community Foundation, the relief effort, but this was a great opportunity to help some businesses. And I think in the short term, you know, as you get to Christmas time, see some of those legacy businesses reopen in new facilities downtown. So we're pleased to be able to assist with that effort.
Jessica, if you would move forward just one more. Sorry, one more. Thank you. So talking a little bit about MBA outside of the disaster recovery realm, we do business and workforce initiatives have been kind of foundational to economic development, and in this case, filling in a couple different spots. So attractions are a big part of economic development. So finishing up the Buxton engagement, which is a tool that economic developers use to matchmake community demographics and socioeconomics with national retail and restaurant outlets. So In this, it's about $50,000 a year, $150,000 total engagement on that, and there were several community partners involved. The goal was, again, to match make with our community with national retail and restaurant opportunities. In that 3 years, you get 20 pursuit packages a year. And so those are attraction packages that discuss the socioeconomics and demographic qualifiers for each of those national retail and restaurant site selectors. There were 60 sent in the last 3 years, and 4 of those were successful, 2 of which we'll see have or will be opening very soon. Jersey Mike's and Costco were both pursuit package targets. Other openings in 2020, Michigan Grain and Grounds opened just about a month and a half ago, and then the AR Workshop is doing their grand opening. Circling back to the target industry analysis, this is something that is updated fairly regularly when looking at attraction targets. In this opportunity, we're working with a firm called RDG to evaluate the current status of the industrial manufacturers and large-scale commercial in our community to align with what the next attraction targets should be. Jess, if you would advance one more. And then talking about the ways in which the MBA supports its business community. So business issue advocacy, we've seen come forward with street closures and millages, construction and expansion projects where there's a transportation component. Also seeing much more demand for workforce barrier support. So employers reaching out and suggesting that childcare is a challenge for their employees, or housing, having a hard time finding housing. So helping those employers to match make with childcare or the community resources to address those concerns. As we ended our relationship with Buxton, there are 2 new tools that have come out both locally and locally at the regional level. And then the Michigan Economic Development Corporation has put together Size Up is the regional tool that's available on our website. Presently, it allows business owners to compare against other businesses in our community that might fit the same profile. So if you want to open a new coffee house, you can compare what wages might look like, marketing budget, where a location might be advantageous for your business. And so that's a really neat tool. I think we've had it about a month now. And then Initiate is a new tool that has just been released by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation as they delve into combining both large-scale commercial industrial with small business. Initiate is a boot camp style virtual learning environment where businesses can get a greater in-depth look at their financials, cash flow, best way to structure debt and recover from situations like we're seeing now with the pandemic and then the flood. In entrepreneurship, we continue to work to connect our entrepreneurs into the ecosystem of services. And what that means is that we have several nonprofit and community partners that help our entrepreneurs. So the Small Business Development Center, CMURC is a newer player to the game, but certainly a key part of that. So our role this year has really been to formalize what that business incubator and business accelerator fund pathways would look like. Those are both state of Michigan MEDC programs that the MBA is an awardee of. And so collaborating with CMURC and SBDC to formalize what those pathways look like. And I think that's it for me. I think the next slide, Tony, is yours, kind of talking about what is next.
Yes, good. Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, and it's we're still very focused in terms of core issues. That one that I've talked with Bridget and I have talked about a lot is this broadband assessment. I think all of us, we knew going into beginning of this year how critical broadband was, but I think as we into the COVID era, we've seen how absolutely essential it is. Whether it's healthcare, telemedicine, whether it's as kids in school trying to follow their classes, or certainly for businesses. We have such a great community and people that work with folks around the globe, but they need that connection to be able to do the job. So we're working on a broadband assessment. We're partnering with the Midland Area Community Foundation again on that. We're going to work with the county. Certainly, we've already got some information folks that can look at this data, working with the city and the townships. Just trying to do an accurate assessment. Sometimes on a map, it'll show that, you have coverage, and then the reality is very different than that. and then putting together a game plan. Okay, there are resources out there at the local, state, and federal level, but what we need to understand what the need is. And it's, I compare it with rural electrification 100 years ago, that it just essentially changes so much of what we do in life. But one of the differences, 100 years ago, you're usually dealing with one provider. Here you're dealing with an assortment of providers, whether it's through phone lines, cable lines, satellite, wireless. And so we need to make sure we're bringing those players to the table, because it's not going to be one size fits all. So that, I think that's going to be a critical area. We've been working on the South Midland redevelopment area, kind of that area as you come along Buttles, and it turns the curve towards the business route. We think there's a great opportunity there. Nicole talked about recovery and rebuild advocacy. So much we're just trying to connect businesses with the right resources. And then certainly still working on the CR Miles Parkway. We sold a property there, for the first property that was sold, and need to do some infrastructure updates because it's been 20 years since that ribbon was cut. But we still think there's some great opportunities there. So all that to be said, we're honored to partner with the County of Midland, and we want to make sure that we hear from you. I know I talk to so many of you regularly with your ideas and suggestions and thoughts, and we really appreciate that. And we certainly always have an open door, because we take very seriously that that we contract with the county, and that you are all representing your residents and the residents of Midland County, and we want to make sure that we're fighting hard every day to do the best job possible. So thank you.
Commissioners, do we have any questions for Tony or Nicole?
Yes. Who is working on developing a potential data center?
That is right on my plate, Jim. And I think I had a call on that last week. So it's, Jim and I have talked a number of times. We think there's a unique opportunity in terms of data centers. We talk about COVID, we're not using any less data. More and more, we use that. And we think there's a real opportunity as we've kind of explored it. Michigan is a good state in that a lot of the data centers they don't want to deal with hurricanes. They don't want to deal with earthquakes. The climate here, while we might not always be thrilled in the middle of February, is conducive to that, because it's generates a lot of energy. So we think there's some good opportunities. So yeah, we had a call on that again last week, Jim. So we're working hard on that, engaging, local interest, local support, and also talking to some of the folks who might be interested in coming here. So it's still an ongoing endeavor.
Okay, are you working with MCV? They got an awful lot of energy out there that's not being used.
We are working with MCV. They're one of the critical partners. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Tony and Nicole, thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you all. Great to be with you today.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of our consent agenda. Would somebody like to remove anything or approve it?
I'd like to move to accept it.
Do we have support? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, now we're going to move on to, unfortunately, I skipped over public comment. So basically now I'm going to ask for public comment on anything that is not on our agenda or is on the consent agenda. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee report number 1. Ann, would you read committee report number 1, please?
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend approval of the amended agreement with the Community Mental Health of Central Michigan, which allows for an increase in the hourly rate paid to direct care workers in the children's foster care sector. All expenses related to this increase will be reimbursed to the county by CMHCM, thus having no net impact on the county budget. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Nosen, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the whole committee recommends the adoption of agenda item 105-9-20.
Okay, do we have any public comment on this item? Is there any commissioner discussion? Ann, call roll, please.
Commissioner Dorian,
Yes.
Nosen,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Glazer,
Yes.
Terwilliger,
Yes.
Geisler,
yes,
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, no, 0 no's, motion carries.
Committee report number 2, please.
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration Operations Committee and the Finance Committee have reviewed the grant agreement between the Midland County Sheriff's Department and the Michigan State Police in the amount of $46,665.08. The grant funds will be used to reimburse the county for coronavirus-related expenses incurred to protect and serve the community during the pandemic. We recommend approval of this grant and that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make any necessary budget adjustments. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A and O Committee recommends the adoption of agenda item 103-9-20.
And Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee also recommends adoption of agenda item 103-9-20.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Noson,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Glazer,
Yes.
Terwilliger,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes,
Dorian,
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 nays, motion carries.
Committee report number 3, please.
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration Operations Committee and the Finance Committee have reviewed the grant agreement between the Midland County Prosecutor's Office and the Michigan State Police in the amount of $30,286.09. The grant funds will be used to reimburse the county for coronavirus-related expenses incurred to protect and serve the community during the pandemic. We recommend approval of this grant and that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make any necessary budget adjustments. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A and O Committee recommends the adoption of agenda item 104-9-20.
And Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee also recommends adoption of agenda item 104-9-20.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this? Any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Glazer,
Yes.
Terwilliger,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes,
Dorian,
Yes.
Noson,
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 4, please.
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. We, your Finance Committee, recommend approval of the request to make a one-time change to County Policy 402.2 annual leave due to circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. Under this change for 2020 only, non-union employees would have the following options. They can choose either or both. They can carry over 20 days of annual leave rather than 10. They can cash out up to 10 days of annual leave rather than 2. We further recommend that this one-time change be negotiated with all bargaining units. Respectfully submitted, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of agenda item 106-9-20.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion?
Hi, Mark. It's Jeanette.
Yes, Jeanette. Go ahead, please, Jeanette.
So we discussed this pretty thoroughly in finance, and Bridget gave us some good information. As a county employee, I'm sure they all know that they can do a combination of these. To me, it wouldn't be clear as a new employee that you can do, a combination of the two of these together. But I'm sure with important things like this, they all talk and figure it out, but I just want to make sure that that is clear to everyone. Thanks.
It was spelled out in the committee report.
Okay, good.
We
Good.
spelled it out in the committee report. too.
Any other commissioner discussion?
Thanks, Bridget. In the committee report we just read.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And call roll, please.
Commissioner Glazer,
Yes.
Terwilliger,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Dorian,
Yes.
Noson,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Chairman Bone,
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Okay, that's it for our committee reports for today. We have no RPCs, we have no old business, but I would like a motion to bring up 2 items of new business.
So moved.
Do we have support? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, Ann, will you read the first item of new business, please?
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. I recommend the approval of the 2021 comprehensive agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The term of this agreement is from October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. I further recommend that the administrator controller be authorized to accept the grant award by login to the e-grant system and continue to be authorized to approve amendments of $50,000 or less. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, District Number 5, Midland County Board of Commissioners.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the adoption of agenda item 107-10-20.
Thank you. Do we have support?
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. I guess I didn't ask for, I didn't ask for public comment or commissioner discussion on that, did I? So let's go back and open it up if there is any. Okay, we'll get it right this next time. New business number 2.
Dated October 2nd, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. I recommend the approval of the amendment to the CPBC funding for the Midland County Health Department. The term of this agreement is from March 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020. The amendment includes an additional $289,006 for COVID-19 response, and I recommend that the administrator controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustment. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, District Number 5, Midland County Board of Commissioners.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the adoption of agenda item 108-10-20.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will approve new business number 2 also. And we now move on to commissioner comments and start with Commissioner Geisler.
I have no comment.
Commissioner Dorian.
I'd like to thank Fred for his update this morning to the board, as well as congratulations to Judge Beal and 10 years of successful drug court dealings. And thanks for Tony Stamas and Nicole Wilson from the Midland Business Alliance for addressing some of the challenges that face our community currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorian. Commissioner Noson.
Yeah, I want to echo those comments from who just
Commissioner
spoke.
Dorian.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate
for a
it.
while.
I'd also like to call out, I'd like to thank Jennifer Boyer for coming to the rescue for one of our committees, MAC committees, relative to the flood and also just emergency planning in general at one of the MAC committees. And on short notice, she came in and just like everyone else from Midland County, showed a high level of professionalism and, you know, the ability to actually answer detailed questions, which I appreciate, and I know everybody on our committee appreciated it too. So thank you to Jennifer for that.
Thank you. And Commissioner Snyder.
I just would like to echo Eric and Scott's comments and thank you for letting us know about Jennifer. I did want to say my condolences on the passing of Al Cloa. Personally, to me, he was a friend and a mentor, and I will miss him. I do want to also, on the business side of it, as a liaison to the road commission, just remember that we only have 3 road commissioners, and that's good. As long as the decisions that they get along, because there's only 2 right now, so there's not that odd number. So I just want to make sure that we fill that within a reasonable amount of time to them. And then I think I've already thanked those for the presentation. There was a lot of passion. I do just want to let everyone know that with what has went on with the health department and the governor, I just want to be added to the list of folks that believe that there was overreach and unconstitutional. I believe it was unconstitutional. And I believe overall we have very good people in the community, as we've seen with the flood, and we like to take care of each other. And I believe that we can make those decisions as part of our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Glazer.
Yes, I have nothing to add. I just think we're so blessed with such sound leaders and such abundance in our communities to the service of our people. So thank you to all who have brought these presentations forward today.
Thank you. Commissioner Twilliger.
I'm on the tail end of the response, and I really appreciate hearing from the Business Alliance, Tony and Nicole. You guys have been busy. I knew you would be, but it was very comprehensive and it was good to hear from you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to echo what everybody else has said about our programs. Also, definitely Al Cloa. Also, I thought a lot of Al, and he's going to be missed, but what an active guy, and he brought a lot to our community. So it's too bad. So let's move to meeting schedules and go Commissioner Geisler.
Oh, unmute, Jim.
Jim, you're muted.
We can return.
Jim, you're muted. You need to unmute.
Oh, did I? I did it. Thank you. Tuesday, October 13th at 2:30 A&O.
Meeting still, so.
Was I
you guys
under
hear me?
mute? Was I under mute for the executive committee?
Yes.
Okay. Executive committee, October 13th at 9 o'clock in the boardroom.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorian.
Human Services is scheduled to meet Monday, October the 12th at 2 o'clock, and that will also be hopefully in the Board of Commissioners room. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Nosen.
Yes, I believe we have a countywide managers meeting at 3 p.m. I hope to attend that on Thursday, the 8th. MAC Environmental Committee meets on Friday, the 9th at 10 a.m. The Finance Committee will meet at 1:30 on the 13th. And on Monday, the 19th, NACO's Finance Committee will meet at 3 p.m. That's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Snyder.
I just want to check and make sure I'm off mute. Okay, I am. I go back to my calendar. So tonight, it's not so much a formal meeting, but just to make you all aware, Delta College is doing a flood documentary, and then Dave Kepler will be answering questions afterwards, and that's on PBS So there's a couple channels on Charter and then 19, I believe. And that's at 8 p.m. tonight. I also have the countywide managers meeting on my schedule. I just like to see everyone and hear what all they have going on. On Monday, I have the Village of Sanford and but more, not more importantly, but Edenville Fire Department is going to be receiving some awards that evening. So I'll probably be participating in that one instead because they're at the same time. And then Geneva and Edenville and the city of Coleman are in the evening of the 13th. The Road Commission is the morning of the 14th. They're looking at, they have a public hearing that morning to perhaps close a county road. The evening of the 14th is Parks and Rec and Jerome Township. And then the evening of the 19th is Warren Township for myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Glazer.
Yes, sir. On Wednesday, the October 7th at 7 o'clock, I have Porter Township. Thursday, the 8th, I will also plan to attend the county manager's meeting. Monday, the 10th, Human Services. And then at 7 o'clock, I'll have Lee Township. They're meeting remotely. Tuesday, October 13th, I will have Greendale and Jasper. Greendale is meeting remotely at 6:30. Jasper will be in person at 7 o'clock or whenever I wind up getting there. And on Wednesday, October 14th, at 7 o'clock, we have Parks and Recreation here in the County Services Building. And that will be all.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Twilliger.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I have drug court, which I'm not sure if Judge Beal is still on, this Thursday at 9 a.m. And then I'm going to haven't quite figured out how to navigate that because my Pinecrest meeting is in person. The drug court meeting is Zoom. So that's at 10 a.m. at the county. And also I plan on attending the managers meeting that afternoon. On Monday, the 12th, I have both Mount Haley and Ingersoll Township meetings at 7 a.m. So I sort of dance back and forth. Those are both in person. On Wednesday, the 14th, I have Midland Township. That's in person as well. And then on Monday, the 19th, I have Senior Services, and that is a Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have nothing to announce before the next meeting. I have kind of an informal meeting at 3:30 this afternoon, but I don't think that's needs an announcement. So I have nothing. Do we have support?
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. This meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, October 13th, 2020 at 9 a.m. to meet in an executive session of the Board of Commissioners and for the committees to resume their duties. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Great day.